You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters, we're going to talk about the Denver Broncos. As we know, we're now getting full reaction coming in following the dumpster fire of a performance last night from the Denver Broncos versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Oh, the fire sale is on. We've got the following. We got the Broncos parting ways, or they're preparing to part ways with one of their pass rushers, Frank Clark. I got to be honest with you. One would think, well, he might go back to Seattle. They have rearranged his contract, restructured him to make him more attractive to the trade market. They gave back $1.686 million in guaranteed salary, perhaps making his contract more attractive to trade for. The one place I would have looked at would have been maybe the Seattle Seahawks, but I don't see the Broncos and the Seahawks doing business again, okay? I just don't, because I think we all know at this point that Pete Carroll, John Snyder, and the Seattle Seahawks, well, they knew exactly what they were talking about when it comes to Russell Wilson, and my God, folks. I mean, I will say this, the Denver Broncos defense last night, they played admirably, but the offense was awful, was terrible, and Russell Wilson was a hot garbage mess last night. A hot garbage mess. And, I mean, we could just take a look right here. 13 for 22 for 95 yards. 95 yards in today's NFL. How does that happen? How does that ever happen? 95 yards, he added 4 rushes for 31. But, I mean, one could argue, I don't know that it was even that close. I really don't. He's 1-5 this year. Think about this, folks. With the Denver Broncos, Russell Wilson is 5-16. 5 wins, 16 losses. And yeah, his stats, they're better this year. They are. But there's been a couple of blowout games, and you got to be wondering, you know, is Russell Wilson, was he able to just put up some stats in a couple of these games? You know, he threw for 306 yards. 306 yards in that 70-point debacle that happened against the Dolphins. And then against the really, in my opinion, a bad Commanders team as of right now, his completion percentage was trash in that game. Even though he threw for 308 yards and had 3 TDs. And in Sean Payton's offense, the one thing you can't be is bad on a completion percentage level. And 56%, 59%, 60.5% in today's NFL in that offense, unacceptable. I mean, this Broncos team, it's not like they don't have offensive talent. Although if you ask Steve Smith, Jerry Jeudy is nothing to write home about. Now, the reaction, it's coming in hot and heavy. My boy Clay Travis came out and said this about Russell Wilson. Question: has any quarterback ever played himself out of the Hall of Fame? Question mark. If Russell Wilson retired 2 years ago, I think he's a Hall of Famer. After 1.5 years with the Broncos, I don't think he is now. Clay Travis has literally removed Russell from the Hall of Fame. I don't know that I'm quite there yet, but we're steamrolling down that road right now. I did a video yesterday morning. The fire sale is on, folks. Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, they're probably getting moved. I said yesterday, well, maybe the Patriots would jump in and grab Jerry Jeudy. Well, if you're Steve Smith, who has been critical of Jerry Jeudy, you know, he tried to talk to Jerry Jeudy last night, and Jerry Judy's response was, well, not so friendly. And we know Steve Smith, he's one of the toughest all-time best receivers got a hell of a lot of play out of a very small frame. All right? Well, this is what happened last night. There was an exchange between the two, and Steve Smith goes scorched earth prior to the game on Jerry Jeudy.
A short while ago, Broncos wide receiver Jerry Jeudy was walking by, and Steve called out to him, and he got a different reaction.
I called out to him because on my podcast, Cut to It, I just talked about guys that maybe have not showed up in a way or in a manner. And so the word that I've used to describe him in the past was a jag, just a guy.
Just a guy.
And so when I saw him, he's playing well.
Just a guy.
Well, I wanted to say to him face to face, like, hey, I know I said some things in the past I probably shouldn't have, and I'm sorry. That's what I.
Hey, that's admirable. I came at you too hot in the past, and I'm trying to tell you, hey, my bad, shouldn't have done it. Well, the response showed a lack of professionalism.
I wanted to say to him, his response, Mike Robb and Bucky, was ninja.
Ninja.
Yes, I'm using the word ninja. I'm just using the word ninja. I don't mess with you, and it was a curse word.
He said, "I don't F with you." Yikes.
And so I was like, all right. And then he
to an all-time great receiver. You might want to talk to the all-time great receiver about what it is and where it is you're coming up short.
repeated it. So I'll say it again. I'm sorry that I said you were a jag, just a guy who's an average wide receiver they use a first-round pick on that isn't doing anything. I hope today that you actually show up in a way that you haven't showed up in the last couple of years since they drafted you. So if you ever got a problem with Agent 89, I'm sorry for saying that you're an average wide receiver that they eventually will move on. And when teams call me and asking, should they trade for you, I will say no, don't trade for Jerry Jeudy because he's mentally unable to handle constructive criticism from people who watch specifically, can he be a wide receiver? He could be a wide receiver. He's a tier 3.
Wow, he crushed him. Called him a tier 3 wide receiver that's mentally weak and unable to take constructive criticism. Like I said, you might want to jump in there and actually get some advice from one of the best receivers of all time. Jerry Jeudy last night. 3 receptions for 14 yards, a 4.7 average. I mean, maybe the Pats ought to take a look at Cortland Sutton. I don't know. Honestly, I was looking at both of their statistics. If I'm a team, I might just pass on both of them. And they're available right now. They're available in trade. But this is getting worse for the Broncos, much worse. I can't remember exactly who it was that I saw earlier this morning as I was sort of perusing around just to gauge reaction. And this is, of course, Adam Schefter tweeted this out. Chiefs now hold the NFL's longest active winning streak versus one team, beating the Broncos 16 consecutive times. Wow. And look, there's no doubt the Chiefs have been a good team over the last 5 years, 6 years since Patrick Mahomes has showed up. A really damn good team. But if you're going to get them, last night would have been a great time to get them because they didn't throw up 42 points on you. They threw up 19 points. And I'm going to be real. I thought the Broncos, they had a chance going into this game. I thought they had a chance, but the fire sale's on. Frank Clark, probably the next one to be out. The trade deadline is coming. I thought a win last night might delay the fire sale. What the hell do you do with Russell Wilson? I don't know. We talked about prior to the season, Sean signed Jarrett Stidham for a reason. I think Russell Wilson losing his job is imminent. I think it is imminent. I think it's coming. I think Sean Payton is going to start having visions of Caleb Williams, Drake May, Michael Penix Jr., potentially Shadur Sanders. Can you imagine him in Denver with Deion Sanders down the road, I mean, that would be a massive bump to this franchise from an electricity standpoint. Probably wouldn't be my pick necessarily, but you get my point, right? Bo Nix is out there. That's a guy I could see that Sean Payton would sort of wink at. And I know Sean Payton's taken a lot of heat because of the Drew Brees and his record. People forget Sean Payton actually won games in New Orleans with Taysom Hill and Teddy Bridgewater. That was Sean Payton, okay? Frankly, those teams performed better than this team. I think they made a couple of mistakes, the Denver Broncos organization. Number one, when you hire Sean Payton, you might as well just get rid of George Payton. All right? Get him the hell out of there. All right? But and his head's probably going to end up rolling. That's my guess, okay, in all of this. Vance Joseph, I think ultimately he's got to go. I don't know who you hire. We know one of the best defensive coordinators, defensive minds of all time, Rex Ryan, wants to be Sean Payton's guy here. Rex Ryan's influence in that building could be a big deal. And Russell Wilson, guys, we're in Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, both now, they are percolating. They are floating around in the NFL Herschel Walker lane of worst trades of all time. And I know one thing, Russell Wilson is playing Pete Carroll right into the Hall of Fame. Right into the Hall of Fame. My goodness, Pete and John Snyder look like the geniuses of all time. And Geno Smith's solid again this year. What does that tell you about what they got out of Russell Wilson in Seattle? I don't know. It's a nightmare. It's a dumpster fire rolling downhill on a tire fire. Broncos fans, passionate, great fans, you're in hell right now. You truly are. Tell me what you think. Guys, what happens? How do they fix it? I don't think Sean Payton's a problem. His seat's not, he's not hot, folks. He's not. He's getting at least next year. At minimum, I think Sean Payton gets 3 full seasons. 3 full seasons. But at some point, he's going to want to see what Jarrett Stidham can do. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.